Going to have a go into the puzzle dungeon. So I'd just like to add, I'm going to mess up the suits from time to time. Actually, I'm really good at wand, hand, and helmet, but sword becomes blade and dagger when I'm talking about it. And for monster types, I seem to struggle with those all the time. So you can see they're here: construct, humanoid, magical, undead, and terror. And then the Monster King. So I'm going to make another attempt at puzzle dungeon with the Valkyrie, who really eludes me in my ability to successfully navigate the dungeon with this hero. Setup's always the same. You take your monster deck and you shuffle it up, and then you deal out 4 rows of 5 cards. So I've dealt out my dungeon, but what I really need to know is, what does the Valkyrie need to capture? And his or her prey is undead. I need to capture all 4 undead, but whenever I defeat a monster, including one of the undead flip over to their king side, which has typically some effect that will either take place immediately or upon the monster's defeat, or some other condition. So, and then if I defeat anything that's not undead, it's a trophy monster, and I get to basically put one of my cards in my hand, if I have one, behind a column, and that one will eliminate one of the requirements on each of the individual cards. So, the 4 undead are placed terribly for me. So they have managed to be in every single dungeon row, so right now I have to go after each. The Reaper is 4 back. The Ghost is in the back, but once he flips, he always hides in the back of any defeated column. So the Lich is the closest one for me to go for, and then the Blue Devil is all the way in back. So maybe I can use some of the abilities of the cards to move them around. We'll see. I'm not particularly hopeful. And of course, you have to shuffle your arsenal deck. It's known as your deck. Then you deal out 6 cards into the arsenal, and then you'll actually take additional 6 cards into your hand. So with my arsenal set up, the main trick to be aware of is that you have to use the arsenal cards in the order in which they're presented, and you actually use them first when battling. After that, you can then use any combination of cards from your hand, or if you have defeated monsters, once you defeat a monster, up in their upper left-hand corner, they have an icon that indicates that it can be used for that ability. After review, I've decided to go after the Cultist. I will use these 2 cards from the arsenal for the wand and hand, and then for my hand itself, I will use these 2 cards, sword and the helmet. So that allowed me to take out the Cultist. So those cards will go to the discard pile, and again, the order they go in is important, because sometimes it matters when you go out. So I can grab my Cultist and bring him in. Since I've defeated him, I can discard up to 2 cards from my hand and draw 2 cards for each card you discarded. I'm disinclined to do that because the deck itself is pretty small, so losing cards doesn't seem to be a good idea. But now that I've taken the Cultist, I can use him later for the sword effect. But also, I can put one of my cards out from my hand as a sigil. And then the other thing that I need to do is flip one of the undead to the king side. And I suppose I could probably pick, but I just roll a die and randomly pick one. So I'll do that. So it turned out to be the Reaper in the first column. So he goes from his normal side to his king side. And, the monster I just defeated is going to move to the front of this column. So I didn't actually get to claim him as a trophy. He's just going to show right back up and play. That's what the Reaper does, right? I should say that I find the abilities and the effects in this game to be pretty clever. So shout out to the designer. So now that I have 6 in this column, I get to put out a sigil. So what I'm going to do is look at the cards in my hand, which are these. So hands and helmets. And then I'm going to look through the cards here and figure out which, since this has so many in it, figure out, what's my biggest bang for my buck. So there were 6 helmets in that row, so I'm definitely going to play this card. So now I have to just 1 less helmet. The hardest part, at least when I'm playing the Valkyrie, is what to do next. So the Lich is right there. I need 2 wands, 2 hands. I'm almost there. Unfortunately, I don't have any wands. So, the other option is I maybe try and go after the cultist again, but I don't have any swords. So I will contemplate this and let you know. One thing I should point out again is you want to pay attention to the benefits of defeating the monsters that are at the front of each column. Like this one lets me shuffle any 4 cards in the arsenal into the deck. If you have a bad arsenal, that would be a good thing to do. Here I can put any 2 cards used to defeat this monster on the bottom of the deck in any order, so that's good because that puts some more cards back into play. And again, it never feels like there's enough cards in the arsenal deck. So I can discard my hand, then draw that number of cards from anywhere in the discard pile. So, it's a zero-sum game, but you can potentially have some better cards in your hand. And this one, again, I can discard up to 2 cards from your hand or draw 2 cards for each card you discarded. Again, disinclined to do that one. So the reality is I don't have anything to defeat. So what I need to do is draw cards from the deck to the arsenal, and hopefully I get something I can use. And that should work. So my cultist is going to go down again. Again, I need a sword, a wand, a hand, and a helmet. But I've got my helmet sigil, so actually I only need 3 elements. And there we are, right there at the top of the arsenal deck. So I will play those out and finally capture that cultist. But that'll force me to also flip one of the undead kings. Magic die says it's the blue devil that gets to become a king. And he looks like the one I want to defeat last, because once he's defeated, any other defeated monsters that I have, which I haven't used their ability for, gets exhausted. So we'll just keep him all the way in the back where he was, happily waiting to be hunted. And the other thing I almost forgot is I get to place out another sigil for my hand. Again, all I have is 2 hands and a helmet. So I've got 3 columns left. I will look through them and determine the best placement. One point I should make is I do know that when the ghost flips, he will move to the end of any column where something is defeated. So I'm disinclined to actually go after that column because he's going to shift his location. Well, I'd like to have kept a helmet in my hand, but the best use seems to be putting my helmet sigil over here in row 4. So, we'll see. So I can take the mutant, but then there's a 50% chance that the Lich is going to flip. And I'd really like to get some cards back in. So, I already have 2 hands, I just need 2 wands. So, I'm going to be not very smart and draw cards from the arsenal and hope that I can get 2 wands to show up. Well, I did not get my wands, but I do have the cards necessary to take out this mutant, so I guess I will just attempt that. So I could take up to 4 cards from the arsenal, there's only 1, and shuffle them back into the deck. I guess I just don't see a purpose to that, so I will take him. He will give me a helmet, and I get to place out another sigil, which all I have are hands left. Knowing the ghost is going to move, and I place the sigil in this column with the Lich. That way, at least I only need 3 cards to defeat the Lich. But now I need to figure out which of my ghosts are going to move. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm hoping for a 1 to 3. Yay! So the ghost becomes the king, and when a monster is defeated in another column, move this monster to the back of that column. Spooky. So I got a hand in the arsenal, a hand in my hand, and again I really would like to get that lich before he flips. So what I'm hoping for, and I don't feel like I've had a lot of wands, is some wands to come out. So, and actually I only need one hand, so I just need 2 wands in succession to be able to take him out. Not a wand. Still not a wand. A sword. And when I get about this many cards out is when I start looking again and seeing what my other options are. So currently in the arsenal, I have enough cards to defeat the Cyclops, which would allow me then to shuffle the arsenal and draw any 2 cards in the arsenal. But the arsenal would be empty, so that doesn't seem very worthwhile to me. I'm really needing some wands. I don't feel any need to go after this column at all. Because again, that ghost is going to move, so I can ignore that one. Alright, let's try again for some wands. There's 1 wand. A sword. Time to evaluate again. And there really wasn't anything worth doing, so I almost feel like now I'm just going to be stupid and try and get 2 freaking wands, because it's irritating me now. Hey, there we go. Alright, now let's see what I can do. Okay, because of my sigil, I only need 1 hand and 2 wands to defeat the lich. There are my 2 wands, and I have to play from the arsenal first in the order, so I put them in the discard pile. And then I need a hand, which my final hand. So I won't get to use this for a sigil because I won't have any in my hand anymore. So I finally capture my first undead, which is my prey. And then I can put any 2 cards used to defeat this monster on the bottom of the deck in any order. So I at least get to return 2 cards into play. I should add that when looking through the discard deck, again, I can only use return cards that I just used for that defeating that monster, so I can only pick from the top 4 cards. But I do, shuffle through the, not shuffle through, but scan through the discard pile to see how many of each card has been used. There are 8 of each card, so knowing that, if there were 6 hands in the discard pile, then I probably want to put another hand back into the into play because there's only 2 left to be drawn. So after using that logic, I decided I needed to return a wand and a hand to the deck, the bottom of the deck. So currently my collection consists of the mutant, the cultist, and 1 undead. I still need to capture 3 more undead, but at least right now I've got, I've got a helmet and a sword and a wand in place for me to use if I need them, and I did avoid the lich flipping to its king side, so that's a plus. And then a quick refresher on what my options are. Shuffle the arsenal, then draw any 2 cards in the arsenal. That actually isn't a bad one right now because there's a pretty big arsenal, so I could get 2 cards into my hand. I defeat the Banshee, but there's really no reason because there's no undead here, so I'm not inclined to go after this one. But I could get each 2, 3, and 4 in the arsenal. Unfortunately, I'd probably use my only 3 that's there, so there's no benefit to that. Again, I can discard my hand. I have none in my hand, and that ghost is going to move. So skeleton is over here. Shuffle the bottom 5 cards of the discard pile into the deck. Okay, skeleton, I need to go after him. And that will move the ghost over to there. So it really seems, and I really want to capture him last, so it seems my focus is going to be over here on the skeleton. So I need 2 wands and hand, because my sigil of the helmet says I don't need any helmets. So I've got 1 wand as a defeated monster. So I just need another wand and a hand. Doesn't look real promising at the moment. Let's draw some more cards. Okay, it really hasn't been going to my advantage. So really, I don't want to keep just pulling out cards randomly, even though that might be a good idea. I don't know. I am going to go after the Banshee, so I can at least get 2 extra cards from the arsenal back into my hand, so I have a little bit more, options to play with. So let's do that. Again, there's a hand sigil, so I don't need to worry about that. And I get to draw. So I need to get rid of a sword, a helmet, and a wand. These 3 cards. And now that I've defeated him, I get the 2, 3s, or 4s that are available. So I get 2 cards into my hand. So that actually helped. I got these cards in my hand. I now have 2 of the spirits or ghosts. I don't remember what that blue icon in the upper right indicates. But it did give me a second wand, which is what I need to get this joker over here, and a hand. So now I just need to get a hand to come out to help. Oh, and the other thing is I defeated this guy over here, so the ghost is going to temporarily move to this location. I did forget to put out a sigil, so there it is. I also depleted my entire draw deck because I desperately needed a hand, and I didn't realize that there was only 1 hand left. So we'll see what a terrible idea this was in a minute. Again, to defeat the skeleton, I need a hand, 2 wands, and a helmet. There's already a helmet with that sigil. So I am going to take this hand and 2 wands and discard them in that order. To the discard pile, which again allows me to take the skeleton, and I get to shuffle the bottom 5 cards of the discard pile into the deck. That couldn't have come at a more opportune time. So I will take care of that. He is only the first one of this monster type, so I'm good. And if I didn't explain it, if I bring out a 3rd one of this type of monster, then I have to flip the 4th one to its king side. And that pesky ghost, it's going to gravitate over here to the end of this one behind the Reaper. So I'm going to go after the Rat Man. I need a helmet, a wand, and a sword. Because there's 2 helmets there, but my helmet sigil means I only need 1. So there's my sword. There's my helmet. And now I need a wand. And so I will exhaust one of these, and I'll just use my skeleton. And I have now captured the Rat Man, which is the second of, I believe, the goblin types. I'm sorry, the first of the goblin types I've had, so don't need to worry about that. But any of the 2 cards used to defeat this monster to the front of the arsenal. So I'll use 3 cards. So let's see what the next card is and play those out appropriately. Well, I'm in trouble because I need 2 hands, and it's going to be difficult to accomplish that. So I might need to figure out if I can somehow... There we go. But I also need 2 hands. Well, I only need 1 hand for this one because of that sigil. So I should have a hand in the draw pile. I will just have to draw and see what I get, because I really need to now shuffle these out, because I'm in a desperate lack of hands. I only have 2 hands and they're buried pretty far in. Okay, I knew there was only 1 hand in the draw pile and it came out first. So we're going to take care of that Minotaur and then we're going to shuffle our monsters out. And to do so, we need a hand, a helmet, and a torch. And I get to take the Minotaur, which is the second of the goblin types. So I'm okay as far as that is concerned. Oops, there's the second. There's the first one. It's nice because he actually gives me another hand. But I'm going to use his ability to shuffle and deal the monsters into 4 columns. Because I can't get rid of him. Because my other hands are buried so far deep. Well, as far as placement, that didn't turn out too bad because it put the 2 of the ghosts right up front. And the other one only buried 1, but he's going to move over here actually to the bottom of, to the back of that one as soon as I attack it. So, or I attack this one, but I need 2 hands, so that's not going to happen. I think I'm just going to let him move and hope for the best. So can I take care of the Reaper? I need 1 helmet because of my sigil. So I need a hand and a wand. I don't, oh wait a minute. I've got 1 hand here. So we'll put them over here because they're both goblin types. Alrighty, so I'm going to take him out. I'm going to use a helmet and a wand, and then I just need a hand. So there is a helmet and a wand, and then I will exhaust this hand, and that defeats the Reaper. I have now captured my second prey, and I move any defeated monster to the front of this column. But that's only when he's revealed, so there's nothing to worry about here. And he gives me 2 hands. How do you like that? So there's the Blue Devil. Unfortunately, if I defeat him now, then I have to exhaust all of these. So I really need to use these now, I guess. So I guess I'm going to use those 2 hands. So I'm going to use, that ghost is going to move to the back. And then it's going to cause the stupid goblin to flip. See, if I defeat him, he's the 3rd goblin type creature, which would make this guy flip. And then I have to discard a card from your hand and arsenal for each king in play, which is going to just whap everything. So I just can't go after him. He's bad. I have to leave him alone. I could draw any 2 cards in the discard pile, but I mean, I'm literally just wasting cards if I go after him. But losing all my defeated stuff. Thinking about it. Well, I'm going to have to just go for the Blue Devil and eat it. So I need 2 swords. And a hand. And then a wand. So there's a sword. There's a hand. There's a second sword, and then I need a wand, so it really doesn't matter. I'm going to lose them all here in a minute, but let's go ahead and exhaust that one. So I've now gotten my 3rd undead creature, but now I'm going to exhaust each of my other defeated monsters. So all these guys are basically used up. But he's not. So again, I've got 3 of my undead, and I've got 2 blades. I need 2 blades, and I need 2 wands. Oh, and my friendly neighborhood ghost escapes over to here. So the real question is which is the shortest line? And it really is that line. So I'm going to review what I have to beat and what happens when I beat him to see if I can get to that ghost. So I think I'm going to try this plan. If I defeat him, I can move any monster to the front or back of any column. So, and that's a triggered ability, but the king ability goes first. So what will happen is I'll defeat him. He will move over here, the ghost, but then I will use his triggered ability to move the ghost to the front of the column and then attempt to defeat him. That's the plan anyway. So what do I need? Well, in this column, I'm going to need 2 swords and a wand. Again, the sigil is the helmet, so I don't need to worry about a helmet. And I've got 2 swords with the blue devil, pardon for the wild panning. So now what I need to do is hope for a wand. No wand. Surely there's a wand in here. I really don't like that it's getting buried so deep. Oh no. Is there a wand? Is my dreams dashed? There is a wand. So a single wand allows me to take care of the Stone Golem. Oops. So first let's go ahead and move the pesky ghost over to the end of here. But now we need to defeat him. Again, I do not need the helmet, but I need a wand and 2 swords. So there's a wand. And I will use these 2 swords. And now that I have him, I've got a hand. And move any monster to the front or back of any column. So now the ghost moves to the front. And to defeat the ghost, I need a helmet and 2 swords. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe that this is going to... That's my only 2nd humanoid, so I do not have to... Or a construct, sorry, that's a construct. So I do not have to flip another king. So now I just need 2 swords and a helmet. And guess what? Helmet. Whoops. Move him out of the discard pile. So that was my helmet and 2 swords. And I defeated the ghost. I've been trying to win with the Valkyrie for way too long. And not only did I manage to do it, but I also managed to record it. So I think this was my 6th attempt at trying to beat with him. So yay me. Great game. Thanks.